I'm here at Magfest with game designer John Carr.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thank you for speaking with me.
Thanks.
I'd like to start by asking, is there a game of yours here you're most proud of and why? Or is this your first game?
This is my first commercial game. I've been working on it for about 5 years. It's the one I'm most proud of, but only one I've gotten this far.
Oh, okay. How did you know when the game was finished?
Well, it's not quite finished yet. It's in early access on Steam, and I'm aiming to finish it in the next few months. It's mostly I have certain goals of what I want, mainly with finishing the campaign, getting all of the units in, designing all the factions in a way that feels natural. So it's kind of an ongoing process. I'm always revising the plans.
What do you think? What elements of the game do you feel like you're revising the most, and which is the least?
The most would be anything to do with the campaign. I've changed that. It started out as a very traditional RTS campaign, and I've really migrated towards a kind of almost roguelike FTL style campaign. I've been adding more interaction with the other characters of the other faction leaders into it. So, and there's small stuff as well that with the game units that I've had to tweak certain things, getting rid of some of the repair options because that unbalanced the campaign. But for the most part, the basic faction loadouts, the buildings, the units that each of the two playable factions have, that has stayed pretty consistent.
What inspires you as a designer?
A lot of things, mostly other games that I play. I'm a big RTS fan, so everything from Command & Conquer, Starcraft, Age of Empires, Star Wars, Empire at War, Homeworld, all of those kinds of games. I get inspiration from different places, and just other kinds of sci-fi elements. You know, a big influence on me has been Star Wars, of course, Firefly as well. The political system in that was very interesting to me, so I tried to incorporate a similar kind of world building in my game.
What is your most important designing tool? Is there something special that you need in your workspace?
Mostly just all of the Visual Studio for programming. I heavily use Microsoft OneNote for writing all my devlogs. I've got pages and pages of notes of stuff, features I want to add, bug reports. So that's a really good way of organizing everything as a programmer. I keep different folders, different notebooks in there. I definitely recommend that.
So have you worked on all the elements of the game yourself, or have you had any contributors?
The only thing I've had someone else do is I've bought music for it and sound effects. All of the programming, the art, the design, that's all me.
Is there an element of game design you enjoy working on most, and what is it? And why, I mean?
I'd say probably the part I like the most is the balancing the missions. So in the game there's a campaign, you take a fleet of units from one node to the next, and in each one you get a unique kind of challenge. You'll sometimes meet another faction, you'll have to fight them, you might escort ships from place to place, and it's been a really interesting experience trying to push the RTS genre in a different direction, because a lot of the things that I do in the campaign are a little different from the normal RTS. It focuses less on base building, that is there, but the campaign is mostly a tactical fleet battle experience, and so finding ways to make the level design interesting has been that's been the most fun.
How did you start making games, and why do you continue making games?
I started probably back in the days of SimCity 2000, using the, if anyone remembers the Urban Renewal Kit, you design your own buildings for it. And then I eventually got into making cheap basic games, making like simple Mario clones, stuff, text-based adventures, stuff like that. That was back when I was, late middle school probably. So it's just been ever since I've been interested in programming, making small little games. I went to did computer science for my bachelor's degree, and it's just went from there.
How did your first game success, however you might define it, change the way you design games? Was there a hump that, some hump you overcame, and did it change you?
I think I'm still trying to get over the big hump. I first started selling this game, started getting feedback. Actually, before that, I had free demos out, and it's a good experience to have other people play your game, talk about it. It's really encouraging, even when they have problems with things. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. So I guess that's changed me. I'm not sure it's changed a lot, but I mostly make the games for myself, and anything that I can do to improve it for other people, I'll just take in that information.
Well, what role do games or the game designer have in society?
That's difficult to say. I guess whatever they want. I mean, I'm not sure I can have much of an effect on society, social issues, political issues, and not that I'd really even want to as a game designer, but I try to do, I think game developers definitely should have a responsibility to design good games, don't try to be exploitative. I keep away from the free-to-play, the really addictive kind of gambling type games. I'd rather not work on any of those in the future, but I don't know, make fun games. I guess that's what I'd say.
Because one of my focuses is getting kids more interested in engineering, and to do that, use science fiction to get them interested. So, and that's why, I'm interested in talking about your game, is because of the sci-fi elements.
Oh yeah, I actually went to, a friend of mine previously ran a convention at middle school up in Northern Virginia, and I was one of the guests. I came along to talk about programming, hand out some basic links to like MIT has a programming thing for kids. But yeah, that's definitely something that I think game designers should do too, trying to encourage people. That's kind of how I got into games, is just seeing the cool stuff that was being done, and I learned, okay, I need to learn programming to do that, so I'll learn programming.
Yeah. And you kind of touched on this already, but what movies, books, games, or other creative media in science fiction or fantasy have inspired you?
Yeah, so, definitely all the games I mentioned, Command & Conquer, Starcraft, Star Wars, Empire of War, Homeworld, Sins of the Solar Empire, and, then in movies, other books, Star Wars, of course, has been a big influence, Firefly, as I said, other fantasy, I'm a big fan of a lot of fantasy as well, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. I was really into Harry Potter, but not so much with this game. This is mostly a sci-fi. I'll probably try to make a fantasy game with my next game, or in 2 games later. I don't know, but it'll be one of those 2 genres.
Is there any fantasy or sci-fi that's maybe not as popular as the others that you're into that you think people would find interesting? Any underground kind of stuff, or?
I don't know about underground. I mean, is steampunk still underground? That's kind of popular now. I guess it didn't used to be, but yeah, I don't know. I occasionally, I guess a little bit less popular is the kind of sword and sandals kind of fantasy, like the Conan stories.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really into those as well. That kind of stuff. I don't know if there's anything really unpopular, but
Right. All right. Is there a game you want to create and haven't done so yet, and what is it? Some big idea.
probably a lot. I really want to make a party-based RPG that kind of we have a very large party, like 15, 20 members. You get some kind of tactical strategy elements in there, but that's in the future. Maybe I'll do something like that. But I kind of want to explore that intersection between strategy and role playing a little bit more in the future.
Have you done any of the tabletop fleet, sci-fi fleet games? Have you seen those?
Yeah, I haven't really gotten into those. I know about the Star Wars ones, the 40K ones, but I've never really.
So they haven't impacted your work at all. They're just out there, and you do your own thing. Okay. And I ask because I'm noticing there's a big divide. There seems to be a pretty good divide between tabletop gamers and video gamers. And I'm just curious, if there's any crossover, but
Yeah, I think there definitely is with some of the turn-based games. I work in real time mostly, so I know people who do the turn-based games. There's a Stardock game I think recently that was very inspired. It was a Warhammer game I think, very inspired by the tabletop. Like the way you move the ship seemed to be based on the tabletop game.
All right. Well, that's all the questions I have. Do you have any final thoughts or comments, or?
I guess just anyone that wants to check out the game, it's on Steam. You can wishlist it.
And what's the name? The name is
Empyrium Frontier. EMPYREAN and then Frontier.
Okay. I see it as GaldorStudios.com.
Yeah. So that's my company name. I've got the website. It's not too much more than just links to the Steam page, short descriptions, features list. I've got a dev blog that I post to. All the major updates, I'll do a little write-up, and you can get some more of my thoughts on the game design that goes behind it that doesn't quite, the more in-depth descriptions that don't make it onto the patch notes page.
Right. And I'll spell it, that's GALD as in dog, OR as in Robert, studios.com. All right. Thank you for speaking with me.
All right, thanks.
Please visit chrisalvarez.com for more cool stuff. You can also find my website and social media information in the podcast show notes. Thanks for listening, and keep imagining the future.